You're listening to KMRL 90.3 FM.
KMRL 90.3 FM.
Keep it locked right here on Marlin's hottest radio station.
Marlin's hottest radio station.
KMRL 90.3 FM. Playing yesterday's favorites.
Yesterday's favorites.
And today's hottest hits.
Today's hottest hits.
I read that someone had his house totally redone, and the water still, when it came out of his faucet, it was still brown. So I'm not sure if that means that it has to do with the pipes or something is just not right with the water. Because if you have a whole new pipe system put in, I guess he put the PVC. I guess he put the PVC pipes that everyone is saying that you need to do, and took out the galvanized pipes. And he was saying that his water still was not clean as it should be, or he said it didn't look clean at all. So that's still some things we need to talk about. And so, we can only discuss these if we have at least one or two people who call in to discuss it. Because with me, it's just my opinion. And I don't just want to put my opinion out there. I want other people to know, what the community thinks and what other people think. And if you're not wanting to call in and be on the radio, you still can call and, say it to me, and I will voice that to the radio listening people. And you can always email me at KMRL Marlin Radio. KMRL Radio at yahoo.com. It's just KMRL Radio at yahoo.com. And the number is always out there, 254-275-7476. And like I said, I will start trying to put the subjects out there in advance so I can have someone's opinion on what I'm talking about before that Thursday night comes. But, we just have been so busy with all the stuff that's going on with the radio and the programming and everything. We haven't been able to get it put up there before time, but we are going, we just, one day at a time, and it will get to the point where we just get better and better and better, because we do want to make it where we will have stuff that's going on in the community, and we will be able to put the information out there. And if it's any information that you need put out there, like we say on our morning show, we do a morning show each Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. And we still can put the word out there if you have any announcements or anything that you want to put out there. But at night, it's basically on Thursday night, it's just my show. And the reason why we're talking about these things now is because we want to talk about community events, community activities, and things that involve the community. We also want to talk about things that involve the world. And I'm sure it's a lot of people have different opinions on the big topic in the news today was the Kavanaugh Supreme Court justice hearings. And a lot of people were saying because he had been accused of a sexual assault when he was in high school. And some people say, does it make any difference what happened when you were in high school, when you're trying to get a position now and you're 53 years old? Well, to me, it makes a difference, because if you're if they're considering you for Supreme Court justice, and he's already a judge now, if he's broken the law before, I think that should be addressed.
We drank beer.
And he did talk how much he drank, so much beer and everything, and what was going on. And, even though he may not have done this assault that he was accused of doing, he still had the demeanor that, he's entitled to this position. And they
We drank beer.
I'm sorry, someone is in the studio and we're having a little stuff going on, but excuse that, overlook that. We will have a song break in a few minutes coming up, but just at this time, we were just going to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the news. But anyhow, when last week, when it was his turn to tell his side of the story, if anybody watched it, just like we were talking about, he was very belligerent. He was very arrogant. And he was just down out and rude to me. And he was real partisan because he started talking about the Clintons and all that stuff like that. I don't see where that was called for. And it's a lot of people right now, church affiliations, over 1,000 law professors, even Man Stevens, I think, that used to be on the Supreme Court. They think he's not qualified to be on the Supreme Court because he messed it up with the way he reacted to being accused of the assault. Even though he may not have done it, the way he acted, it was just outrageous. And he showed a side of him that's really in him. So, the people think that some of them said, oh, he was just so upset about what had happened to him. So he felt like he had to let them know how upset he was. I think he was putting on a show for a certain person that acts like that. So that because the night before he was on Fox News and he was all meek and mild and everything, but that may have been a show too. Maybe that was the real him, how he acted during the hearing. But I see that they did decide to do a federal investigation, FBI investigation, even though they said they only interviewed 9 people, and it was very quick. They did it from Friday, and they turned this report in last night at 2 a.m. Some of them said it doesn't show anything about misconduct as far as sexual assault or whatever. But 3 women had accused him. And I guess those 3 women, their voices are just pushed aside. And it's still questionable because they're saying that he said he didn't do it. And the women said he did do it. So are they saying that they believe him more than they believe the woman simply because they don't have proof from the woman? I don't know what kind of proof they want. They keep saying that the woman doesn't know where it happened. She can't remember where it happened, and she can't remember the house, so that means it never happens. But that's not true because a lot of times they said it's so much trauma and they're just really, I guess they would have to be hypnotized or really get a lot of counseling and, talks on it to pull that out. Because there's some women who've been attacked, and that one lady said she was attacked in a car. She don't even remember what kind of car it was or what color car it was, but she does remember who did it. She remembered it happened and details. So this woman, she remembered details and she remembered that it happened, but she don't remember where the house was the address or anything like that. And so they're saying that they believe him over her. But to me, on that controversy where you don't know if he really did it or he didn't, because even the people that believe him, they wasn't there. They don't know if he did it or not. And just because he screamed and hollered and said he didn't do it doesn't mean that he didn't do it. So I think they shouldn't confirm him anyhow. It's plenty other judges that 45 could pull up and name for the Supreme Court, and they should just let this one go because he's tainted and the whole thing is just messed up. And I see one of the senators, Lindsey Graham, he keeps talking about he voted for Kagan and the other lady, Sotomayor, when Obama had nominated them. But those ladies didn't have any kind of sexual assault or any kind of charges hanging over their heads. They didn't have a black cloud of suspicion over their head. And I see that they provided 100% and 99% of all their papers and federal information. And this guy, Kavanaugh, only provided 7%. A lot of the paperwork and a lot of the information that he had when he worked in the Bush White House, even though it wasn't considered to be security information, they wouldn't even let that be seen. Why, I don't know. And that's kind of suspicious. But we'll keep talking about it, and we'll hope that someone else will call in and give their opinion about what they think that went on with that, or what do they think should happen. I see it was a lot of rallies and a lot of protesters out today in D.C. objecting to it. So we're going to do a short song break, and we'll come back. But remember, you can always call in at 254-275-7476. And you can email me at kmrlradio@yahoo.com. This is Classy C, and I'll be back with you in just a few.
You're listening to KMRL 90.3 FM.
KMRL 90.3 FM.
Keep it locked right here on Marlin's hottest radio station.
Marlin's hottest radio station.
KMRL 90.3 FM. Playing yesterday's favorites.
Yesterday's favorites.
And today's hottest hits.
Today's hottest hits.
Okay, this is Classy C, and I'm back here with you. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that short music break, and we're going right back to chatting about what's going on. And I was just looking, I was scanning through the phone, and I was just seeing different things in there. We were talking about the Supreme Court Justice nominee, Brett Kavanaugh. And they had on there that several people or several agencies and different people are thinking that he's unfit. That's what we were saying, that he's unfit to be on the Supreme Court. And this is just a short list of some of the people and the organizations that's saying that they think he's unfit for the Supreme Court. Okay. The Bar Association, that's for the lawyers. At first they were saying, oh yeah, he was fine. He would be good for it. But then when he put on that performance that he did on last Thursday, they started thinking, second guessing that. And I think he really showed his true self in a way, because how could he just come out there and do the way he did? But anyhow, the Bar Association, they don't think that he's fit. 1,000+ law professors don't think that he's fit for the Supreme Court. Yale Law School, and that's his alma mater. That's where he went to school and got his law degree. They don't think he's fit. A magazine called Justice Magazine, the largest church coalition in the United States, they don't think he's fit. His old roommate, he wanted to talk to the FBI. I don't know if they talked to him or not, but he doesn't think he's fit because he knows for a fact that he lied during the hearing by saying that he wasn't a big drinker and that he never blacked out and he didn't drink that much. And this was his roommate. He said he knew for a fact that he did. He would drink through the week, and almost every weekend he was drinking. They even had a keg in the room. And, that's kind of weird to me. You really drinking beer if you have to have a keg in your room. Okay? And some former law clerks, they don't think that he's fit to be on the Supreme Court. But you know who's in favor of him being on the Supreme Court? 47 Republicans, Senate Republicans. They don't have any qualms about putting him on the Supreme Court, even with all the stuff that's hanging over his head, even with the lady that made that came to testify, Dr. Ford. And a lot of them say, oh, she's a nice lady, and it seemed like this may have happened to her, but I don't think he's the one that did it. Well, who is the one that did it? She said it happened to her, and she said he's the one that did it. But being that they wasn't there, they can still say they don't think he's the one that did it. But they don't have any qualms about it. And the way he acted, the way he was so disrespectful to one of the female senators who just happens to be a Democrat, he was very disrespectful to her. And, she asked him a question, and he goes to say, what about you? Do you? Because she just asked him plain and simple, did you ever drink so much to the point that you forgot or that you blacked out? And he's just going to haul off and say, do you or did you or something like that. She just looked at him and she said, I need you to answer the question. And then he told, yeah, I know what you need, but did you? I want to know, did you? It was just doesn't make any sense that he would act like that. I don't care how mad he was. That lady didn't do anything to him. And of course, they trying to say that the Democrats, fixed up this whole thing. They used Dr. Ford, and they dug her up from out of the blue to make up allegations on him, even though 2 other women also had allegations on him. But they still want him in there because it's all about that power. They're not concerned that this man may have done sexual assault or that he may just be a drunk. They don't believe it, but I do, because he could be drinking at home. He could be drinking at home every day, getting drunk. Because I know someone, they were able to hold down a full-time job. You never would think that they would drink like they did. But every day, they would come home and drink beer after beer after beer, sometimes to the point that they'd just fall asleep. But they had to get up to go to work the next morning. So you can't tell me that Brett Kavanaugh doesn't drink beer after beer after beer. How he talked about beer, he talked about beer so much during that hearing. It was just a little weird. He was just saying, I like beer. I still like beer. And act like he was getting mad if you couldn't understand that he loved. He said he liked. I think he loves. because he kept saying, I like beer. I like beer. We had a beer. We drank beer in college. Do you drink beer? Senator, do you like beer? I like beer. Well, you like beer? I like beer. Beer is good. And, he just kept talking about beer, beer, beer. It was just, but they want to justify. They didn't think there was anything weird.
We drank beer.
There.
She had one beer at the party and had beers with, and having some beers with friends, or just to meet up and have some beers. Drinking beer, which I gladly do. I like beer.
You haven't answered that.
I like beer. I don't know if you do.
Okay.
Do you like beer, Senator, or not? What do you like to drink?
Next one is
Senator, what do you like to drink?
Judge, have
In
you?
any event, we drank beer and still do. So whatever.
He act like he's drunk
I
now.
think you've probably had beers, Senator, and
Look at him.
and so
you're saying there's never been a case where you drank so much that you didn't remember what happened the night before or part of what happened?
that's you're asking about. Yeah, blackout. I don't know. Have you?
That just doesn't make any
Could you
sense.
answer the question, Judge? That's not happened. Is that your answer?
Yeah, and I'm curious if you have.
I have no drinking problem, Judge.
Yeah, nor do I.
Okay.
No, he doesn't have a drink problem because he drinks just like a fish. He don't have a problem at all. The only problem he may have, maybe his arm may get tired of going up and down drinking that beer so much. I don't think he has a drinking problem at all. It's just ridiculous because they can say he's not going for a job interview. Yes, he is. He's going for a job interview because he's going to get an increase in his pay and he's going to have a different position. And we all know we've been on an interview and the person asks us something and we're so belligerent and they would say, well, what do you want to do? Because this is a question they may ask. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? People going to look at us like, they don't want this job. You know, now the lady that asked him the question, she's one of the senators. Even though he already probably knows she's going to vote no on him anyhow, I guess that's why he felt like he could be all rude and disrespectful to her. And the Republicans didn't have any women in their side. The only thing they had was those 90-year-old fossil of white men. They didn't have any they didn't have any diversity or anything. Just, I think they have about 10 people in there, 10 or 12 senators in there. They may not have a 10. I'm not sure about that hearing. But all of them was just older white men. They had a few maybe that's 60 or one that's maybe in his 50s. But most of the other ones, they were way over 70. So they need to go back and do some house cleaning. For one, all these states that they're coming from, I don't know why they keep voting the same people in. I guess because it costs so much money to run for these positions, and a lot of people don't have the money to do that. So they just keep getting these old rich cooters who are going to think the same way they've been thinking for years and years. Some of them been in there way back in the 70s. Probably, like we said, some of them were back there in the 60s, but I don't know if they still have any of them still. I think the oldest one was Thurman, Strom Thurman. I think he, finally died or he got out of there and got sick or whatever. But some of them in there now is at least 80, I know. And I think they need to be out of there because look at even John McCain, he was 80 and he would have still been in there probably. But at least he did seem like he had some kind of common sense about the thing. And, the Senator Flake, I think he's from Arizona. And he was the one that said he couldn't vote until they had an FBI investigation. But I'm sure he'll come back and say yes, too. But I don't know why he would say yes. He's not running again anyhow. But it was one bright light today, this lady, I think her name is, I can't remember what state she's from. I think she's from South Dakota. But she runs in she's from a state where 45 got 30, it was 30 points over what Hillary got for that state. So it's a red state. But she says she just cannot look at herself in the mirror each day and vote yes for Kavanaugh. She said even if it means that she's going to lose her Senate seat, she can't vote yes for him. So it is some people that's concerned about, the United States or something more than themselves. So we have to still say it's some kind of ray of hope out there. But there's a lot going on in America today. And it's just like I was saying this morning on our morning show, it's just like the people have forgot all about the morals. They're not even concerned about the morals. But the only way we can get stuff done and change things, we have to get out and vote. I see Willie Nelson has a new song that he's been doing. It's called Vote 'Em Out. So that's what we'll have to do. We'll have to vote them out. And if you're not registered to vote, you still have until October the 9th, 2018 to register. Just get out and register to vote. Because if you're not registered, you won't be able to vote in the election, the midterm election. And I think this is going to be a really heated midterm election because so many people right here in Texas have registered to vote, more than they've had in a long time. I think they said it was up like 15 million from what they usually have registered to vote. So make sure you get out October the 9th, by October the 9th and register to vote. And early voting will start this month, October the 22nd through November the 2nd. And if you weren't if you're like some of the people, old school type, that love just voting on election day will be November the 6th, 2018. And one of the really competitive races for the state of Texas is for the state senator. And that's going to be Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. And Beto O'Rourke, he's really been going, he makes it known that he's gone to 254 counties. And he's the Democrat, and Ted Cruz is a Republican. And I was just reading a story earlier. I didn't read everything on it, but it was a grandmother and her two grandchildren. I think the grandmother was 70 and the kids were 8 and 10. And they were out campaigning and canvassing in a neighborhood for Beto O'Rourke. And this was a black grandmother and her two grandchildren. And a white person in the neighborhood just told them to get out of the neighborhood. He don't want them here. This is his neighborhood, and he has a right to tell them to get out. And they wasn't doing anything but campaigning. They wasn't, trying to infringe on him or anything. It was just, it's gotten to be that you can't do anything. People think they can just tell you anything to do. If they don't agree with what you're doing, they think they can infringe on your rights. But like I said, we need to get out and vote. I'm not telling you who to vote for. You can vote for whoever you want. But you need to vote. And if you don't like what's going on in the government, I'm talking about the city government, the federal government, and the state government. because even in the city elections, I know not too long ago when they were voting for council people in our whole city, I think it was only 24 people that came to vote for one position that someone was running in. And, 24 people, that's, and then a lot of people, we get more people than that sounding off on Marlin current events. But you can't just sit back and type up stuff on your computer all the time. Sometimes you have to get out and let your voices be heard, let it be known. And I was reading, one man said, did they send out a letter talking about the increase in the water bill? How did they let the people know? They had a city meeting, a citywide meeting that was announced for a long time, because we even announced it here at 90.3 FM to let people know what was going on. But people didn't care to go. And now this is the first time you're getting the water bills. And like I said, ours went up also. And other people's have gone up. And some people's were 169, 180, 100 and something. It's really too much. It's really too much. And I read that some people said maybe we should boycott. Nobody should pay. But already people are saying, well, I'm not going to do that because I have to use my water for this and this and that. Even though I'm not drinking it, I'm going to pay my bill. So a boycott is only good if a certain number of people participate in it. But you still can go to the council and let your voice be heard. Okay. And it's almost time for us to go, but I just have a few more things that I want to just relate to you. And we'll have a short song break, and I'll come right back and I'll finish it up, and then you can be on your way for this evening. But I'm still putting out there, you can always call in at 254-275-7476, and you can email me at kmrlradio@yahoo.com. Let me know what's going on with you, what subjects you want us to discuss, and what do you think, what's your opinion on the subjects we are discussing. Okay, I'll be right back.
You're listening to KMRL 90.3 FM.
KMRL 90.3 FM.
Keep it locked right here on Marlin's hottest radio station.
Marlin's hottest radio station.
KMRL 90.3 FM. Playing yesterday's favorites.
Yesterday's favorites.
And today's hottest hits.
Today's hottest hits. We want to thank you for listening to the Classy C and Crazy Chris Morning Show.
You can catch the show Monday through Fridays.
Live from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
on KMRL 90.3 FM.
Marlin's hottest radio station.
Okay. This is Classy C, and I'm back. Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to give you 4 inspirational quotes that are by black women, and this is for preservation. Okay. The first quote I have is, I didn't have anybody, really, no foundation in life, so I had to make my own way. Always from the start, I had to go out in the world and become strong to discover my mission in life. And that's by Tina Turner. And we all know who Tina Turner is and all the stuff that she went through. And that's her quote. Okay. The second one I have is, you are on the eve of a complete victory. You can't go wrong. The world is behind you. And that was by Josephine Baker. And she was an entertainer and dancer. And she went through a lot of things also. And it was a movie made about her and her life. And I think Haley Berry played in the movie. Okay. This is the third quote I have for tonight. The time may have changed, but the people are still the same. We're still looking for love, and that will always be our struggle as human beings. And that's Haley Berry. And we all know who Haley Berry is. She's an actor, and she's been in several movies. Okay. This is the last quote I have for tonight. Whatever someone did to you in the past has no power over the present. Only you give it power. And that's by Oprah Winfrey. And we definitely know who Oprah was. And she's gone through a lot in her life. Even though she's achieved a lot, before she got to that point, she was molested as a young child. She got pregnant when she was about 13 years old. Ended up losing that baby. And, you know, she just went through a lot of stuff in her life. But that was her quote. And also, I just want to leave you with a little something that I saw today. They said, if you add your age plus the year, the year you were born is going to equal 2018. And this is the only year that you can do that. It won't be able to be done again for 1,000 years. So I tried it out for myself. I put my age that I am. You have to have had your birthday for this year. You put how old you will be this year plus the year you were born. And it's going to come out to 2018. And that's just a little something that I saw. And I just want to put it out for people. So, you know, if you're listening, you can try it. Just write down your age if you've already reached your age for this year. And the year you were born. And it should come out to 2018. And this is the only year you'll be able to do it for 1,000 years. So that's what they were saying. But anyhow, I really have enjoyed being here chatting by myself. Even though I know it's someone out there listening, I would love to get the call-ins. And I'm just hoping as time goes on and we get more into the shows and you know more about when it's coming on, I'll put out there what our subject matter is going to be for that night. I will get more participation. And as always, you can always listen. And if you want to call in, the number is 254-275-7476. And you can always write in also our email at KMRLradio@yahoo.com. And this is Classy C. And I'm here every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come and we'll talk about what's going on, current events. I'll give you some little inspirational quotes, and we can just talk about whatever you want to talk about. As the news gets, you know, it's just really a lot of stuff going on in the news now about, like I was saying, the sexual harassment, sexual assaults, and things like that. That's why I felt like we should be talking about that also. But as the news comes down some, maybe we'll just talk about stuff that just would relate to us, just what's going on in our personal lives. But I really enjoyed being here, and I look forward to being here every Thursday. And this is Classy C. And I hope that you have a great day, a great night tonight. It's still early. You know, you still got time to do things. And tomorrow, I'll be back with Crazy Chris. We're on here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And that's the Classy C and Crazy Chris morning show. So join us in the morning and just have a great, great evening. Thank you for listening, and always keep it locked and tuned to 90.3 FM. Tell everyone you know and everyone you see. Good night.